Before we begin, make yourself as comfortable as you can. Allow your shoulders to soften. Let your jaw relax. Take one slow, easy breath in, and gently let it go. There is nowhere you need to be tonight, nothing you need to solve. For the next little while, your only responsibility is to walk slowly beneath the stars and keep watch over a village that has already fallen asleep. Now, if you're ready, let's begin. The last glow of sunset has disappeared beyond the rolling hills, leaving behind a sky painted in deep shades of blue. Tiny stars appear one by one, like little lanterns being lit across the heavens. The air is cool, carrying the gentle scent of damp earth, fresh hay, and distant pine trees. Somewhere beyond the village walls, crickets begin their nightly song. Their rhythm is steady, quiet, and comforting. Tonight, you are the village watchman, not a soldier, not a knight. Simply the person trusted to remain awake while everyone else rests peacefully. The village itself is small. Perhaps 200 people call it home. Wooden cottages line narrow cobblestone lanes. Thatched roofs lean comfortably against one another, as though the houses themselves have become old friends over many generations. Soft golden light spills from a few remaining windows. Inside, families finish the last moments of their evenings. A mother folds a blanket over a sleeping child. An old grandfather carefully places another log into the fireplace. A baker prepares dough that will quietly rise through the night. Soon, even those lights will disappear. You make your way towards the small stone gatehouse standing beside the entrance to the village. Waiting there is the elderly watchman whose shift has just ended. His beard is silver. His cloak is worn smooth after decades of faithful service. Deep lines rest around his eyes, not from hardship, but from countless peaceful nights spent beneath these same stars. He smiles warmly as you approach. Without saying many words, he hands you two familiar tools, a sturdy wooden staff and a brass lantern. The lantern is beautifully simple. Its glass panels glow with a gentle amber flame, protected from the evening breeze by tiny metal frames polished from years of careful hands. The old watchman adjusts the lantern in your hand. "It isn't meant to frighten away the darkness," he says quietly. "It simply reminds people that someone is awake." His voice is calm, gentle, almost sleepy itself. You nod with quiet understanding. There's something comforting about that thought. The lantern is not a weapon, not a warning. It is simply reassurance. As long as its warm light moves through the streets, everyone else may rest. The old watchman gives a small wave before disappearing toward his cottage. Moments later, his front door closes softly, one by one. The final windows throughout the village begin growing dark. The day is over. The night belongs to you. You take your first slow steps along the main street. Your boots make soft sounds against smooth stones polished by centuries of travelers. Tap, pause, tap, pause. There's no reason to hurry. A good watchman never rushes. He notices. He listens. He walks slowly enough to hear the village breathing. Your lantern swings gently beside you. Its warm light dances across wooden fences, stone walls, flower boxes resting beneath tiny windows. Even now, late in the season, a few herbs still release their pleasant fragrance into the cool air. Lavender, rosemary, wild mint. Their scents drift softly with each passing breeze. You pass the village well standing proudly in the center of the square. During daylight hours, this place is always full of cheerful conversation. Children laughing, buckets splashing, neighbors exchanging stories. But tonight, The well rests quietly beneath the moonlight. Even the wooden bucket hangs perfectly still. Nearby sits a simple wooden bench, empty now. Earlier this evening, 2 elderly neighbors likely shared stories there while watching the sunset. Tomorrow evening, they probably will again. Life here moves slowly, not because people are lazy, but because they understand something easily forgotten elsewhere. Some things should never be hurried. You continue your peaceful patrol. Far above, clouds drift lazily across the moon without urgency. The stars seem brighter now. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens like a silver river. You pause for just a moment, looking upward, breathing slowly, feeling wonderfully small beneath such an enormous sky. A cool breeze brushes gently against your face. Somewhere beyond the fields, an owl calls once, then silence returns. Not an empty silence, a peaceful one. The kind of silence that only arrives when everyone feels safe enough to sleep. You smile quietly, because that means you're doing exactly what you're meant to do. You continue walking. One lantern, one village, one peaceful night. And somewhere ahead, many more quiet streets still wait to be explored. Your lantern sways gently at your side as you continue your slow walk through the sleeping village. Its warm, amber glow reaches only a few steps ahead, leaving the rest of the street wrapped in soft moonlight. There is something comforting about seeing only a little of the road at a time. It reminds you that the night asks for patience, not speed. Every few moments, your wooden staff touches the cobblestones with a quiet tap, a pause, tap. The sound is soft enough not to wake anyone, yet steady enough to let the village know that someone is keeping watch. The narrow lane curves between rows of timber-framed cottages. Each home has its own small garden, carefully tended through the spring and summer. Even in the darkness, you can recognize the shapes of climbing roses, bundles of lavender, and neat rows of herbs resting beneath the moon. A gentle breeze carries their fragrance through the air. Lavender, thyme, fresh earth, and somewhere nearby, the faint scent of bread. You smile to yourself. The baker must have placed tomorrow morning's loaves into their wooden trays before going to bed. By sunrise, the entire village will awaken to the comforting aroma of fresh bread drifting through these same streets. But for now, everything waits peacefully. You stop outside a modest cottage with blue painted shutters. Inside, all is quiet. A small candle still burns near one window, its flame flickering softly behind thin linen curtains. Perhaps someone forgot to blow it out before falling asleep. Or perhaps an elderly woman enjoys sleeping beside its warm glow. You simply admire the peaceful light for a moment before continuing on your way. There's no need to disturb anyone. Tonight is not about finding problems. It is about preserving peace. As you reach the end of the lane, the village opens into a small, grassy common. By day, children race across this patch of grass with wooden hoops and carved toys. Farmers gather here to exchange news after long days in the fields. Travelers rest beneath the great oak tree, standing proudly at its center. Now, only the oak remains awake with you. Its ancient branches stretch high into the night sky, gently moving with each passing breeze. The leaves whisper softly, a quiet conversation between the wind and the tree. You stand beneath its wide canopy for a moment. Looking upward through countless leaves, you catch small glimpses of the stars sparkling beyond. You wonder how many generations of watchmen have paused beneath this very tree. Perhaps hundreds, perhaps more. The tree has watched children become parents, parents become grandparents, and grandchildren begin the story once again. Some things change, others simply remain. Your journey continues toward the village stables. Long before you arrive, you hear the gentle sounds waiting there. A horse shifts its weight. Another lets out a slow, sleepy breath. Leather harnesses creak quietly as they settle against wooden posts. You push open the stable door just enough to peek inside. The lantern casts a warm, golden glow across neat rows of stalls. Several horses lift their heads just long enough to recognize your familiar light. One chestnut mare blinks slowly. She seems almost pleased to see you. You step inside without making a sound. Running your hand gently along her neck, you feel the warmth of her coat beneath your fingertips. She exhales softly, then lowers her head once again, completely relaxed. Animals seem to understand peaceful people. There's no fear here, only quiet trust. You check that every gate is properly secured. Every latch sits exactly where it should. Satisfied, you gently close the stable door behind you. Outside, the stars seem even brighter now. The moon has climbed higher above the rooftops, covering the village in silver light. Tiny shadows stretch across every path. Nothing feels frightening, only calm. As you continue walking, your lantern reflects in a narrow stream flowing beside the road. The water moves lazily over smooth stones, creating the softest music imaginable. You kneel for a moment beside the stream. The water is perfectly clear. Moonlight dances across its surface like scattered pieces of polished glass. A frog quietly slips into the water. Ripples spread outward, then slowly disappeared. Soon the stream looks perfectly still once more. Everything in nature seems to understand how to move gently at night. The trees sway slowly. The water flows quietly. The breeze whispers instead of roaring. Perhaps that is why these peaceful hours feel so different from the busy daytime. Night asks very little of anyone, only stillness, only rest. You rise and continue toward the northern gate. The wooden gate stands tall beneath two stone towers covered with climbing ivy. Earlier today, merchants and travelers passed through here with wagons full of grain, cloth, barrels of honey, and fresh vegetables. Now, the heavy gate remains closed until sunrise. You examine the iron hinges, strong, well secured. You check the wooden crossbeam locking everything into place, exactly as it should be. Beyond the gate lies an empty country road disappearing into moonlit fields. Far in the distance, gentle hills roll toward the dark outline of the forest. The world beyond the village is vast, but tonight, your world is only these quiet streets, these peaceful homes, these sleeping families, and somehow, that feels more than enough. You lean lightly against the cool stone wall, taking one slow breath, then another. Above you, the stars continue their endless journey across the heavens, without clocks, without hurry, simply moving as they always have. You find comfort in their quiet certainty. There's no rush for the night to end. There's no need for tomorrow to arrive early. For now, the village sleeps. The lantern glows, and you remain awake, walking patiently beneath the stars. Not because anyone asked you to be extraordinary, but because sometimes the greatest kindness is simply being present while others rest. With that gentle thought warming your heart almost as much as the lantern in your hand, you turn away from the northern gate and begin your slow walk toward the old marketplace, where midnight is quietly waiting. The old marketplace rests ahead of you, peaceful beneath a sky filled with countless stars. By daylight, the square is the heart of the village. Farmers arrive before sunrise with baskets of vegetables still carrying the cool dew of morning. The baker arranges warm loaves across wooden shelves. The blacksmith's hammer rings steadily through the air. Children weave between the market stalls, laughing as they chase one another around barrels and wagons. But tonight, the marketplace belongs to silence. Your lantern casts a soft circle of amber light across the empty square. Wooden stalls stand neatly in rows, their canvas coverings folded away until another morning. A forgotten broom leans against one table. An empty basket waits beside another. Nothing feels abandoned. Everything simply rests, just as the people do. You walk slowly between the stalls. The scent of apples lingers faintly in the cool air. Somewhere nearby, dried herbs hang beneath a wooden awning, releasing their gentle fragrance whenever the breeze passes through. Even without voices, the marketplace still feels alive, almost as if it is dreaming about tomorrow. You smile at the thought. Villages have their own rhythm, their own heartbeat. During the day, that heartbeat is heard through footsteps, conversation, and cheerful work. At night, it is heard through quietness. You pause beside the old stone fountain standing at the center of the square. Moonlight dances across the water. Tiny ripples catch the lantern's reflection, breaking it into dozens of little golden stars. You lean forward slightly and listen. The fountain sings its endless song, not loudly, not urgently, only the gentle sound of water finding its way home. You have heard this sound countless times, yet somehow it never becomes ordinary. You continue your patrol toward a narrow lane leading to the village chapel. The small stone building has stood here for generations. Its walls are covered with climbing ivy. Its wooden doors have been opened and closed by thousands of careful hands. Tonight, those doors remain gently shut. A single candle glows inside one small stained glass window. Its warm light shines softly through colored glass, painting tiny patches of blue, red, and gold upon the stone path. You stop for just a moment, not because there's anything to check, but because this place always seems especially peaceful after dark. The silence here feels different, deeper somehow, as though even the wind slows down before passing by. A little farther ahead stands the village bell tower. Its stone walls rise above every rooftop, watching over the cottages just as faithfully as you do. You glance upward. The great bronze bell waits quietly overhead. Then, without warning, the first gentle chime fills the night. Dong. The sound rolls softly across the sleeping village. It is not harsh. It does not demand attention. Instead, it spreads like a calm wave over rooftops, gardens, fields, and distant hills. A second bell follows. Dong. Then a third. Slowly. Patiently. Until 12. Peaceful chimes have marked the arrival of midnight. Between each one, silence returns. The bell seems to understand that quiet is just as important as sound. When the final chime fades into the distance, the village becomes still once again. Midnight has arrived. This is your favorite hour. Not because anything exciting happens, but because almost nothing happens at all. The world feels wonderfully unhurried. Even time itself seems to slow. You begin walking again, leaving the chapel behind. A thin mist has begun drifting across the open fields beyond the village walls. It moves so gently that you hardly notice it at first. Silver moonlight settles upon the mist, giving it the appearance of floating silk. Your lantern glows warmly against the cool white fog. Together, the two lights create a peaceful balance, warm and cool, gold and silver, earth and sky. As you round another quiet corner, a small orange cat appears from beneath a wooden cart. It pauses, looks at you with sleepy eyes. then stretches slowly, arching its back before padding across the cobblestones. Its tiny paws make almost no sound. Halfway across the street, the cat stops beneath your lantern. For a brief moment, the two of you simply share the silence. Then, with quiet confidence, it disappears through a garden gate. You chuckle softly. Even the village cat seems to approve of your nightly rounds. The lane leads you toward a small footbridge crossing the narrow stream. The bridge is made from old oak planks, worn smooth by generations of footsteps. You cross slowly. The lantern's reflection shimmers below. The water continues its endless journey toward places neither of you will ever see. You rest your hands lightly upon the bridge railing. The wood feels cool beneath your fingertips. Looking upward once again, you notice how incredibly bright the stars have become, without the smoke and noise of distant cities. The sky reveals every constellation, every tiny point of light. The Milky Way stretches from one horizon to the other like a river of silver dust. Some stars shine with steady white light. Others carry the faintest hint of blue or gold. You wonder how many watchmen before you stood right here, looking at these very same stars. Perhaps someone stood here 100 years ago, thinking the same quiet thoughts. Perhaps another stood here 300 years before that. The stars have watched them all, and tonight, they watch over you. A cool breeze brushes gently across the bridge. Your cloak shifts softly around your shoulders. The lantern flame flickers once, then steadies again. Reliable, calm, just like your footsteps. You leave the bridge behind and continue along the final streets of the village. Every cottage remains peaceful, every chimney quiet, every family asleep beneath warm blankets. Nothing needs your attention, and somehow, that is exactly how you hope every night will be. Because the finest watchman is not remembered for fighting danger. He is remembered for the countless peaceful nights when nothing happened at all. You smile quietly. There is great comfort in ordinary nights, great beauty in simple routines, and beneath this endless sky, walking these familiar streets, you begin to realize that peace is not something extraordinary. Sometimes, peace is simply a lantern, a quiet pair of footsteps, and one gentle soul, keeping watch while the whole village dreams. By now, the night has settled into its quietest hour. This is the time when even the wind seems to grow sleepy. The village has become so still that the smallest sounds feel wonderfully clear. A single leaf drifting across the cobblestones, the distant murmur of the stream, the gentle crackle of your lantern's flame. Nothing interrupts the silence. Everything simply belongs to it. You continue along a familiar path that circles the outer edge of the village. Here, the cottages stand a little farther apart. Small vegetable gardens rest behind low wooden fences. Rows of beans climb neatly tied poles. Cabbages glisten beneath tiny drops of dew. A patch of pumpkins lies quietly beside a weathered scarecrow, whose wide-brimmed hat now shelters a small sparrow asleep upon its shoulder. The little bird never stirs as you pass. Even nature seems to trust the calmness of the night. Your boots move slowly over the damp earth. The scent has changed since sunset. The warmth of the day has disappeared, replaced by the rich fragrance of cool soil, fresh grass, and the faint sweetness of wildflowers closing for the night. It is a scent that belongs only to these early hours. You breathe deeply. There is no hurry, no destination waiting for you. Only the next peaceful step, and then the one after that. Ahead, a narrow footpath leads towards the edge of the forest. You often walk this way during your patrol, not because danger waits among the trees, but because the forest is one of the quietest places you know. As you approach, tall oaks and ancient pines rise into the darkness, their branches gently swaying beneath the stars. The moonlight filters through the leaves in delicate silver patterns, painting the ground with shifting shapes that move with every breeze. You stop beneath the first great oak, its trunk so wide that it would take several people holding hands to reach all the way around it. How many centuries has it stood here? Perhaps no one remembers. It has watched children grow into grandparents. It has watched seasons come and go. It has watched countless watchmen carrying lanterns through these same peaceful hours. Tonight, it watches you. You rest one hand lightly against its rough bark. The tree says nothing, yet somehow, its quiet presence feels like company. You remain there for a few slow breaths before continuing your walk. A little farther along the path, the trees begin to thin. The fields open once more beneath the wide sky. Tiny beads of dew sparkle across the grass, like scattered diamonds beneath the moonlight. Every blade reflects a little piece of the heavens. You pause to admire the sight. It feels as though the stars have quietly fallen to earth. Far across the meadow, a family of deer stands grazing peacefully. One lifts its head. Its ears turn gently toward the faint sound of your footsteps. For a brief moment, the deer simply watches you. There is no fear, only quiet curiosity. Satisfied that you mean no harm, it lowers its head once more and continues grazing beside the others. You smile. The night has a way of making every creature seem gentler, even the wild ones. You turn back toward the village. Your lantern continues to glow with the same steady warmth it has carried since the beginning of your watch. Its flame never rushes. It simply burns, patiently, faithfully, much like your own quiet duty. As you pass the old mill, the great wooden wheel stands perfectly still beside the stream. During the day, water turns the wheel without pause, grinding grain into flour for the village baker. Now the mill rests. The water continues flowing beneath it, singing softly as it slips around smooth stones. Nothing insists on constant work. Even the mill understands the importance of rest. You continue toward the baker's shop. Before you even reach the door, something familiar greets you. The smell. Warm, comforting, fresh bread. Inside, the baker has risen long before sunrise. You notice a soft orange glow through the small window. The great stone oven has been lit. Its gentle fire flickers quietly inside. You do not knock. There is no need. The baker knows you pass this way every night. Instead, you simply tip your cap toward the window, almost as if greeting an old friend. Moments later, the shadow inside lifts a hand in return. No words are exchanged. None are needed. Some friendships are built entirely upon quiet routines. You continue your patrol. The eastern horizon remains dark, yet somehow, you sense that morning is slowly making its way toward the village. Not yet, but soon. The stars seem just a little softer now. The air carries the faintest promise of dawn. Your lantern suddenly feels a little warmer in your hand. Perhaps because the night has grown cooler. Or perhaps because after so many peaceful hours together, it has become something more than a simple lantern. It has become a companion. Its gentle light has walked every street beside you. It has reflected in every window, crossed every bridge, visited every quiet corner of the village. And now, as your watch slowly nears its end, you find yourself feeling grateful. Grateful for peaceful nights. Grateful for quiet work. Grateful for simple moments that ask nothing more than your presence. You pause once more beside the village well. The water remains perfectly still. Looking into its dark surface, you see the reflection of the stars above. For a moment, it becomes impossible to tell where the sky ends and where the earth begins. The village sleeps peacefully around you. Every family remains safe beneath warm blankets. Every door remains closed. Every lantern inside the cottages has long since gone dark. Only yours continues glowing. A single warm light, moving gently through the last quiet hours before dawn. And somehow, that feels exactly right. The night has carried you faithfully through its quiet hours, without hurry, without excitement, without interruption, one peaceful step after another. Now, almost without your noticing, the darkness begins to change, not all at once, very slowly. The stars still shine overhead, but their brilliance has softened. The eastern horizon, far beyond the rolling hills, has taken on the faintest shade of pale blue. Morning has begun its long, gentle journey toward the village. You continue walking at the same unhurried pace. There is no reason to rush, simply because dawn is approaching. The village deserves one last peaceful patrol before the new day begins. The night has carried you faithfully through its quiet hours, without hurry, without excitement, without interruption. One peaceful step after another. Now, almost without your noticing, the darkness begins to change, not all at once, very slowly. The stars still shine overhead, but their brilliance has softened. The eastern horizon, far beyond the rolling hills, has taken on the faintest shade of pale blue. Morning has begun its long, gentle journey toward the village. You continue walking at the same unhurried pace. There's no reason to rush simply because dawn is approaching. The village deserves one last peaceful patrol before the new day begins. Your lantern glows warmly beside you, its little flame dancing behind polished glass. For hours, it has been your quiet companion. Its light has fallen across empty streets, old stone walls, sleeping cottages, and silent gardens. Now that morning is near, its glow no longer feels necessary, yet you find yourself strangely grateful for it. Some companions do not speak. They simply remain beside you when the world is quiet. A cool breeze drifts through the village square. It carries a new scent, fresh bread. The baker's ovens have been working steadily while the rest of the village slept. Soon, warm loaves will be arranged in neat rows behind the shop window. Soon, neighbors will gather with baskets beneath their arms, but not yet. For now, the streets still belong to silence. As you pass the bakery, you notice the baker opening a small wooden shutter. Golden light spills gently onto the cobblestones. He notices you and smiles. No words are exchanged. Instead, he places a freshly baked loaf upon the windowsill. A quiet gift, a simple thank you. You bow your head with appreciation, then continue walking, leaving the bread exactly where it is. There will be time for breakfast later. For now, the village still sleeps. A rooster calls somewhere beyond the gardens. Its voice carries softly through the cool morning air. Another answers from farther away. The sound is gentle rather than startling, almost as though even the roosters understand that morning should arrive politely. Tiny birds begin appearing among the hedges. One hops across the path in front of you. Another lands upon the stone edge of the village well. Their songs begin quietly, only a few simple notes at first. The world is waking one small sound at a time. The eastern sky brightens a little more. Deep blue becomes soft gray. Gray slowly welcomes touches of silver. The stars begin disappearing, not because they have gone away, but because daylight gently asks them to rest until another evening. You find that comforting. Everything has its time. The stars shine at night. The sun warms the day. The watchman walks while others sleep, and when morning comes, he rests as well. You reach the small bridge one final time. The stream below reflects the first colors of dawn. Its water looks different now. No longer silver beneath the moon. Instead, it glows with delicate shades of pale blue and soft gold. Mist rises lazily from its surface, drifting across the meadow like a light blanket. A rabbit appears near the edge of the field. It pauses for a moment, twitching its nose, then disappears into the tall grass. Every creature seems to know that a new day has arrived. As you return toward the gatehouse, the village slowly begins to stir. A cottage door opens with a quiet creak. An elderly woman steps outside carrying a wooden bucket. She smiles when she sees your lantern. "Peaceful night?" she asks softly. You smile and nod. "Very peaceful." She seems pleased. "Then we all slept well." With that, she continues towards the village well, humming a gentle tune beneath her breath. Soon another door opens, then another. Thin trails of smoke begin rising from stone chimneys as fireplaces are lit for breakfast. Somewhere nearby, you hear the sound of a child laughing sleepily. A dog stretches outside its owner's cottage before curling back into the morning sunshine. Life returns quietly, just as it left, without hurry, without noise, simply following its familiar rhythm. At last, you arrive at the gatehouse where your shift first began. Standing there is the day's watchman. He is younger than the man who greeted you the evening before, but his smile is just as kind. Without ceremony, you hand him the lantern. He accepts it carefully with both hands. For a brief moment, neither of you speaks. There is no need. The lantern has completed another peaceful journey through the night. It has done exactly what it was meant to do. Its flame never chased away the darkness. It simply reminded everyone that someone was awake. The younger watchman thanks you with a gentle nod. Then he places the lantern beside the doorway, where its flame is softly extinguished.